Let's talk about zone. So in this scenario, we are the red defense and blue is the offense. And the idea behind zone is that you're responsible for an area, but not exactly a person all the time. So you would lay out, we would probably do a 2-3 zone, which you see the layout of the red team here. And you could see how number 2 is responsible probably for an area that consists of that. 1 would be responsible for an area like so. 3, as you can kind of see a pattern here. 4 would be somewhere right around there. And 5 would kind of cover all this area right in there. So remember, with defense, there's no 3-second in the paint, so 5 can stay around there as much as he wants. So let's put this in action here, and you kind of see what happens. As number 1 has the ball, or whoever has the ball at the top of the key, that is actually up to our defenders 1 and 2 to decide who's going to call defense on that. So it can be 2 comes up and guards there. If that's the case, we have 4 shifting over to guard more of 3, 5 shifting there, 3 shifting there, 1 shifting there. So you can see everybody moves to cover an area to make sure everybody's covered in their region or zone of the court. And when the ball moves, we have to decide how we adjust. The ball moves over here, it really should be 2 adjusts over there, 1 adjusts there, 3 comes out, 4 then drops down, and 5 covers over there. And as everybody shifts around, we now are again covered every person on the court, but it doesn't matter if you actually match up with your number as long as you match up with people in your area. Now what gets a little tricky is when the players start moving around, not just passing. So let's bring this, for example, let's bring the pass up to 1. What happens if 1 drives to the basket? Well, 2 can collapse down because it's in his region, and 1 will follow him to a point there too. 4 will make sure he's, still has his guy, but he can block it off, and then we're covered most of the players. There is number 3 up here that is open. It's still, in this case, number 2's responsibility for number 3, and if that's the case, if it passes out, he pumps back out. But he can pull off because it's still covering his area and covering the person with the ball right there. Now, should 2 come over here? That throws off the balance of our zone. No. So 2 needs to stay in this area, but he can come down and help whatever he needs. If you notice, when we played against this last team, and they had zone against us, we had an issue when we brought our people. Let's bring our scenario here. We had it laid out like this. Well, if they're defending it 2-3, which is they were, and then we pass it over here, we run this screen off, runs by 4, well, nobody's guarding him, so that didn't work, and we come down here, these guys are just sitting there waiting, so this pass would not work. So this is where we have to adjust our play when we're on offense. But that's why I have this number 4 here, because you see how it throws off their layout. So let's go back to, if we're on defense, again, we're the red, and they come over here, and they start overloading on a side. All right, so now we're like this. What is 2 doing? 2 is responsible for this area all over here, but he needs to realize he's not doing anything. So he needs to shift. 4 needs to shift down there. 5 needs to front guard this guy to make sure that pass doesn't get in, and 1 staying with the ball here. Now, this is where you have to kind of keep an eye on things. if how you can beat a zone is by large movements and cross court. So if 2 goes over there, does 3 follow? No. There's no reason for him to follow because he's not playing man. He's playing zone. He's responsible for this area. So this is where 4, 5, and 3 kind of make an adjustment. And if the defense is not aware of how to handle zone correctly, they would send this guy all the way over here and clear it out and then throws off the zone. But when we understand how it's supposed to happen, we just shift, and yes, it might be a little height mismatch here for 3 and 5, which is why they do this kind of setup. But we can keep everybody covered just by keeping an eye on where the open people are and what is my area of interest. Now 4 really shouldn't be this far over. He really should be packing over here, and we can overload in both 5 and 4's area in here, because I do not care if they try to make this real long pass over here. Because if they do make this long pass to this person that's open over there, 4 might be able to intercept it, and then we'll just easily shift over. So, again, the idea is on a zone to have areas covered that you know that you should be responsible for. And as a defender, you cover whoever enters your area, and then you shift or tell your teammates to switch when they move around. So let's reset at the top, kind of go over this again. Everybody comes down, gets in their defensive position, the 2-3 defense, and then we're going to go through it again. If the guy dribbles, all right, here we come up. Let's say 2 sides match up, but then as they dribble over here, it really should be 1 recognizing that they might need help. He'll come over, assist, and 2 will mark off like that. 3 can come up and block off 3. But really probably should be more like right in that area, because, again, I don't care about this long pass, because we can always get over there in time. So the benefit of zone is that we always have somebody camping in this area if somebody drives, and these guys are always in this area here in case the drive comes down. Because if 4 comes out here, this guy is responsible for this whole area. But as soon as he sees somebody coming toward his area, he can come off and help out and not have to worry about his guy at that moment, because we can always reshift and take care of that if the ball goes over there.